gamer never seen. Twitch stream, laughter in between. Clicks and chaos flow, zany every show. Random scenes we go, humor, let it blow. Game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a sight! Australia delight. Day turns into night. Gaming takes its flight, catching all the vibes, crazy antics guide. Viewers by my side, randomness worldwide. Game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a vibes, crazy antics guide. Viewers by my side, randomness worldwide. Jack Grant, game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Jack Grant on his stream, pro gamer never seen. Twitch stream, laughter in between. Clicks and chaos flow, zany every show. Random scenes we go, humor, let it blow. Game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a sight! Australia delight. Day turns into night. Gaming takes its flight, catching all the vibes, crazy antics guide. Viewers by my side, randomness worldwide. Jack Grant, game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a vibes, crazy antics guide. Viewers by my side, randomness worldwide. Jack Grant, game like whoa, not a pro, but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Jack Grant on his stream, pro gamer never seen. Twitch stream, laughter in between. mistakes and chaos flow, zany every show. Random scenes we go, humor, let it blow. Jack Grant game like whoa, not a pro but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a sight! Australia delight. Day turns into night. Gaming takes its flight, catching all the vibes. Crazy antics guide viewers by my side. Randomness worldwide. Jack Grant game like whoa, not a pro but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Crikey, what a vibes! Crazy antics guide viewers by my side. Randomness worldwide. Jack Grant game like whoa, not a pro but glow. Sarcasm on low, laughs and endless flow. Jack Grant on his stream.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We are on. We've had a lot of change of plans today and change of plans tomorrow. We didn't really do any cleaning today. We've got some cleaning to do. We'll do tonight, on and off. And we end up doing our Christmas shopping today rather than tomorrow, because now the sister's coming tomorrow instead of today. So we will be on actually probably not too late tomorrow, given my sister's coming around about 10 o'clock in the morning. There shouldn't be, hopefully there's not too much. Doesn't think there's too much to do. But other than that, yeah, we will be streaming sometime tomorrow. We shouldn't need to go back into the city. We've already made 2 trips into today. We shouldn't need to make a third. Well, we shouldn't need to make another trip tomorrow. I mean, possible we might, but we shouldn't need to. But we've paid almost everything off. We've not ordered our light and easy because they were going to deliver this Saturday, which would have been the 28th. 27th, but they're not delivering this Saturday now. So, we won't order light and easy again till the 5th of January. Means we've got some light and easy meals to get us through to Friday/Saturday is 26th, 27th, but then will be all of the week saying the 29th and all the week saying the 5th. In theory, with no food. So we will have some money. We'll just have to go and make some sandwiches. Not ideal. Not ideal. It is food left over from Christmas Eve lunch. Then we'll have some snacks. I'm not really worried, but we won't have much money left before we get paid again. Thankfully, just about everything is paid off. As to plans tonight, well, let's just hope the bullshit stays away on the green platform, because I don't want to deal with that a 4th fucking day in a row. That guy count? No. He's probably not guilty, but who cares? He's still partially responsible, because even if he hadn't created the bots, let's be perfectly honest, he pissed someone off to create the bots to try and get him banned. Means he is very much at fault regardless. Sorry, but true. That's okay. That's okay. We will get over it. We are going to do some more BL4 farming, however. That will be the plan. There's some shift codes we've missed. There's some shift code? Yes, we did. We missed some shift codes. So from the 20th of December onwards, each so we will need to go and start claiming. We need to wait for those shaders to compile, obviously. had that's it. So I've only had day 1 and day 2. So shift code. First shift code. And second shift code. We will look at those 2 shift codes, those 2 rewards in a second. We should check Amon and we'll check we'll log out of Vex and check Amon in a minute. We are going to check the Vex skin and the Echo 4 skin. Customization. Echo 4 skin has got a new skin. Must be a paint job more than don't see it. What was it? Echo 4 drone skin. I'm not seeing it. Seeing it. Don't see it. What's it called? Double check that. Copy. Shift. Claim that, right? It's already been redeemed. I don't see it. Oh, that's right, because it shows up there first. Children of the Vex. Forgot why it didn't show up. So, the paint job is there, which is that one. A winter borderland. Frame. That attachment. I will stick with that. Paint job. What changed?
Don't speak.
Now,
You want the gas?
what's the Vex? Don't mind that. Hey there, Corito. How are you doing? Mind that. Stick with the Christmas one for the moment. Good, good. I'm sure you're probably doing better than me the last 3 days prior to today. Oof. Not been a good 3 days of streaming, I tell you.
Again.
Oh, check aim on. You'll check aim on now. As well. It's alright, it's just the green platform, also known as Kick. I had a guy, someone under 7 accounts, all come in and tell me my stream was shit, and to go and follow the guy. So, and I wasn't the only one who was being targeted. A few people went into his stream while he was streaming and said, "Stop botting." So, after having 7 people, 6 of them inside 10 minutes, I went and sent a nice little email to Kick and said, "This ain't acceptable. I don't know whether and I said, I straight out, I don't know whether he's responsible or not, but it doesn't matter. I shouldn't have my chat spammed in solidly for 10 minutes." And they all send 4 messages each. So 6 times 4, 24 lines of bullshit. Did not put me in a good mood. It had me very upset yesterday. So I don't, which is kind of why I was actually kind of why I was not wanting to stream on Kick, to be honest. Because all I've ever heard, all I've ever thought was it's not a good platform to start on. But the messages I had was, "This stream sucks. My stream is much better. I'm live. My Kick username. Come follow." Second message, "Come follow me instead." Third message, "My stream is so much better than this. Kick.com/person's name. Bad stream. Watch me," all in capitals. "Kick username is here. Such and such." And I got that from 7 different accounts. I did check his channel, and someone said to him to stop botting. Now, whether he was botting or using bots, I don't know. But he didn't even respond to them. He didn't even say anything to them and deny that and say whether it was him or not. That's not a good look. If you're not creating the bots, you should be defending yourself. Should you not? To me, you should be defending yourself straight out as soon as someone comes into your channel and says, stop botting. And if you're not saying that, denying it, my honest belief, you're as guilty as all hell. And I've got, and not just from that person, but I've had that same abuse 3 days straight prior to today. Doesn't help my mood going into this season, into this festive season. But all the help desk responded with was, thank you for reaching out to us. We appreciate you for submitting your report to us. It has been forwarded to our related team of moderators for further investigation. If any actions are detected that are deemed to be against our terms of service or community guidelines, appropriate measures will be applied. Unfortunately, we won't be able to disclose what decision we will take, as that would go against our privacy policy, but rest assured the investigation is in good hands. In regards to the unfortunately part, that's when they actually need to break their policy and break their privacy and tell the person who's reporting the shit what's been done. That's when they need to break their policy. They need to have a clause in their policy to break privacy on that front. But are they going to do anything about the bots? Doubt it. Doubt it. Very much doubt it. So, I mean, they might. I mean, the thing is, bottom line, I don't know whether they'll do anything about the bots or not. Why? Because they're not going to report back to me and tell me what they've done. But when I did check out the guy's channel and someone said someone was trying to get, someone basically said, oh, it's not him. Someone's just trying to get him banned. But you know what? Let's just say it's not that person's channel and he's not creating the bots and people just trying to get him banned. Guess what? It means he's still pissed off someone enough for someone to create multiple bots to get him banned. It means he's still done the wrong thing by someone. Whether he's responsible for the bots or whether he's created the bots or not, he's still pissed someone off, which means he's still just as guilty as the person creating the bots. That's what it comes down to. That's what it sadly comes down to.
You suffer the red thirst, yes? Maurice can hear it gnawing.
That's not very high. No. I reckon we've got the highest moves we're going to get. Highest chucks we're going to get. But I do know I wasn't the only one being targeted, but regardless, what was he streaming? He was streaming things like Roblox and gambling. Yeah. Okay. To me, that's no offense to people who run gambling streams or run Roblox streams. Let's be honest. They're probably more boring than my streams. Ah, what have you come up with PC part wise, or you're still trying to work it all out? But again, you don't. By no means do you. By no means should do you or should you definitely take my advice on putting a PC together. But I guess all you can really do is research, get advice, and not just get advice from me, but get advice from other people. But what I do know is supposedly AMD, their latest graphics card, is finally catching up to Nvidia. Yeah, I mean that's the bottom line. I mean, one thing when it comes to with me building my PC, I've always gone for very expensive parts. And the reason for that is so I don't have to replace the rig so often. Is it the 7600 maybe? Latest AMD graphics card. No, I think they're up to the 9000 series now. I could be wrong. But supposedly AMD's Radeon's catching up graphics card was. So, have I used AMD cards in the past? Years ago, yes. I used some Nvidia cards for a while. I tried a couple AMD cards, then I went back to Nvidia. And I've not switched from Nvidia ever since. But when it comes to CPUs, it's Intel that I always went with Intel, but Intel's been behind for a long time. So I moved from Intel to AMD. I've been with AMD for a while, CPU wise, but stuck with Nvidia GPU wise. But why I do lean towards more expensive graphics cards, RAM, CPUs, motherboards. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I think an i5 is still. I think an i5 is a while ago. Latest Intel CPU. Yeah, the Intel's up to i9s. So that's what i5's probably at least 2 generations old. And the Radeon 7600 is at least 1 generation old. So would I trust an i5 core with the Radeon 7600? Well, put it this way. You could go for it, but in 6 to 12 months, you're going to have to end up replacing the graphics card and the CPU, which is why when I said I go for the expensive parts, I don't want to. Yeah, they're on i9 CPUs now, but that's why when I go for parts, I go for the highest I can afford, because if I go for a good CPU and a good GPU, I'm not having to replace the hardware every 6 to 12 months. I know my hardware will be able to hold me out for maybe 2 years, if I'm 18 months to 2 years. And then I can come up with the money again to upgrade. Keep in mind, I'm still running an RTX 3070 card. Is it letting me down in Borderlands 4? A little. I actually have to have most of the graphics down very low. But I'm also fooling the system and getting it to run and running FSR for frame generation over Intel frame generation. Oh, so over NVIDIA frame generation. But I would say the cheaper you go, to me, the cheaper you go for parts, the quicker you're going to have to go and replace the parts. If that makes sense. As a general rule, I feel like the cheaper the part, cheaper and the older the gen of the parts that you buy, the quicker you're going to have to replace them. So if you can, and I'm only saying and stressing, and I stress, if you can afford close to the current gen of graphics card and CPU, then to me, if you can afford it, and I stress, if, capital I, capital F, if you can afford to to run close to the latest GPU generation, the latest CPU generation, whether that be an Intel AMD CPU or an NVIDIA or AMD GPU, to me, that's what you should go for. Because then, if you can get close to, if you went for an Intel CPU, you could get close to an i9 14900K. That would be, if you can't afford the Intel i9 14900K, and you can afford something a little bit less or 6 to 12 months older, then you should be good, in my opinion. But because you and I possibly in the same boat, finance wise, and I can't afford to upgrade my CPU, my GPU desperately need updating, but I can't afford to update them. But if I had made the last 2 years of PAX trips, I probably could have updated them. But I would say to me, rule of thumb, if you can't afford the latest gen CPU and GPU, get close to the latest gen CPU, GPU. Because then, you know that will last through, let's say you're one gen behind. Let's say you go 1 gen behind CPU and GPU wise. That means you're a little bit lagging behind the current gen. And then only the following gen, maybe the gen after, is when you need to replace. To me, 1 gen behind the current gen could probably and potentially And I say potentially, I'm not someone who puts together computer PC rigs for work, but a, any particular gen should last you 2 to 3 gens. The current gen will probably get you through maybe the next 2 to 2.5 gens. A gen behind will probably get you through the next 2 gens. But there's no guarantee of that. Yeah, I mean, if you can't afford a i9, and that is if you want to go for Intel, I would try and get as higher end i7 as you could, but it's a matter of whether you want to go for an Intel CPU or an AMD CPU. And it's only kind of the latest. It's only kind of the latest Intel CPUs that are starting to catch up to AMD, much like it's only the latest AMD graphics cards and it's starting to catch up with NVIDIA. It's just AMD CPU and NVIDIA GPUs have been ahead for a gen, 1 gen, maybe 2 gens ahead, at least. At least, but again, I'm just I don't have any proof how long a CPU or GPU will last you. Got no proof of that. I'm only going on my own personal experience, because when it comes to NVIDIA cards, I went straight from an NVIDIA 1000 GGX 1000 to an RTX 3000. I skipped the 2000 series. And guess what? I'll be skipping the 4000 NVIDIA series as well. My next NVIDIA card, unless the 6000 comes out insanely soon, which I doubt it, my next NVIDIA card will be an RTX 5000 series. So I've skipped the 2000, I've skipped the 4000. I'd probably end up skipping to get a 5000 series card. What am I like to do? I'd like to skip the 6000 series card unless it is head and shoulders better. Unless it is so much better. Because if we're going to be honest, memory, GPUs, CPUs, they're starting to get expensive. But if we're also going to be completely honest, and I'm just throwing this up as more of a devil's advocate, how much better, let's be honest, whether you take into account the fake frame generation that does exist, how much better can our games end up looking right now? Right now, at this point in time, how much better can they get looking wise? I mean, Borderlands 4 isn't a great example because all the faces are cel shaded. But when you look at, let's say, the Resident Evil games, Village was quite insane. do I think Requiem will blow everyone away when that comes out next year? Honestly? And no disrespect in regards to Resident Evil Requiem. I think that's what it's called. Will that blow people away graphics wise and how the characters look compared to Village? In my honest belief, no. Do I think Village is as good as human being characters can look? Honestly, I think we're pretty much as realistic as we're going to get without using virtual reality and other stuff. And let's be honest, virtual reality really isn't available in 99% of games, and most people don't have access to it. But to me, we're already, if we haven't reached the absolute apex of how good a game can look, if we're not already at the apex, at the very pinnacle, we're almost there. The games, in my honest opinion, and keep in mind, I've come from the 8-bit four color palette generation of games. I don't see games looking much better than they are now and more beautiful than they are now. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying there's no way I can prove that. But if you look at the last few games that have come out, they're not blowing away games from a year ago. If we're going to be completely honest, they're not blowing games away from a year, if not 2 years ago, graphic wise. In my honest opinion, the only thing that could get better is maybe everyone's running at 200 plus frames per second. But guess what? Everyone would need over 200 hertz monitors. Guess what? Most people don't need that. Most people don't use that. Most people are still running on 144 hertz or less. Just saying. Sure, higher frames, the more beautiful a game could look. Granted. But, again, do I think we're almost at the pinnacle? Yes. So do I think graphics cards can next gen of graphics cards can make shit look even better? Honestly? No. They won't make shit look better. But what they could do or might do is make your frame generation and frame rate more solid and less fluctuation. That's where the graphics cards will come in. From me, that's where the graphics cards will come from here on in. When they will just make your frame rate, so you're running at 60 frames per second in the game, 144, 160, 200, whatever. All the graphics cards are going to do is make whatever number you choose more solid. Because like I said, games are not going, the graphics in games are not going, and especially the human face or the enemy's face, if it's like an enemy in the current in Doom Dark Ages. It's not going to get much more realistic than it already is. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but that's just my opinion on where I think games are at the moment, where games can go, and where graphics can go. And honestly, I think we're pretty much at the pinnacle now. And honestly, I think we've been at the pinnacle maybe about a year or so ago, if not two. I think we've been close to the pinnacle for about 2 years. So we're not at the pinnacle now. I think we're probably maybe, and if we're not at the pinnacle, I reckon we're probably only 6 months, maybe 12 months of game development coming out, and that's it. That's it. Does it mean the games are going to look absolute trash? No. The games are going to continue to look beautiful as all hell. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, put this way, an RTX 5080 card is not going to make, well, we go into the graphic settings of Borderlands 4. Now, I'm fooling my system by using FSR and FrameGen, and not to mention I'm running a couple of mods in the background to actually improve my frames. But I will say, for the graphic preset, which I think is badass, is the top level for graphics presets. As far as I know, and I'm not 100% certain, I think as far as I know, a patch or 2 patches ago in Borderlands 4, even 5080 and 5090 cards could not run graphics preset at badass and get good frames. I was struggling to get 60 frames. So now, is that on Gearbox and the game devs, or is that on the graphics card and CPU? I will say I think the game devs are pushing people's systems too hard and too much. So because I would expect what the systems that the game devs are doing the testing on is nothing the home user has got at home. Nothing even close. But again, if I wanted decent FPS, let's say I had a 5080 card in my system, I'd probably still only be running this on medium, maybe high. Because still, even with a couple patches, Borderlands 4 is very memory intensive. Very memory intensive. Should it be? No. It definitely shouldn't be. But the game did have a memory leak, which I think they fixed in the last patch. They didn't admit there was a memory leak, but I did notice I did feel there was one but there doesn't appear to be one now. So, but again, do I honestly think, and if I look at my Steam wish list, actually I'll not go by discount, I'll go by release date. So Resident Evil Requiem is coming out on 27th of February. So let's just flick Resident Evil Requiem screenshots up for a second. Now, keep in mind, these are just screenshots of Resident Evil Requiem. Do I know what res they were taken at? Absolutely not. But keep in mind, I'm running at... What res am I running at? I'll tell you in a second. Even though I've forgotten. So I'm running at 2560 by 1440p. Now, what res that is, what res that was taken at, what frames per second that was taken at as a still shot, I mean, you'd think that was an actual photo of a real person. Now, is that much better than Village? Not that much better. It might be a little bit better than Village. Have we looked through the other shots? Looking through all these still shots, I truly, oh, going back to Raccoon City. Interesting. And look at the glow around that cigarette lighter. This looks awfully familiar. But look at the images. Again, do I know what res they were taken at? No. Although probably taken there higher than 1440p, probably taken at 4K res. I've probably taken at 4K res, and even then, even at 4K res, let's be honest. Let's be brutally honest. What I said about games coming out and how they're looking, do I think from these two screenshots, and again, I've not looked at these screenshots till tonight. This is the first time I've looked at Resident Evil store page for a while. But look at these two screenshots. Does this back up my honest belief? My honest belief and honest opinion, have we come close to hitting the pinnacle, if not hit the pinnacle of how good graphics can look? Yes. We have hit the pinnacle. In my honest opinion, can you get more lifelike 'Cause that's Leon, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Can that be more realistic? Can those two images be more realistic and lifelike than that they are there? I would think they were photos taken of real life people and photos taken in real life. I honestly believe that. I would have thought both of those photos, both those screenshots were real life photos. I mean, look at the furrow of her brow. The twinkle in her iris. Possibly a trembling lip. And Leon with a glint in the top of the iris. That whole stubble. Again. Do I honestly think this looks 10 times better than Village? No. Do I think this looks 5 times better than Village? No. Do I think this looks 2 times better than Village? No. It looks a little bit better than Village, but not a hell of a lot. It's a little bit better. It looks, and when I say it looks a little bit better than Village, I'm talking about it looks about that much better than Village. It's literally about, it looks about that, these screenshots look about that much better than Village. The tiniest bit. I.e., I'm talking, no disrespect to Capcom. No disrespect meant at all. No disrespect meant to the devs of Resident Evil Requiem. But the detail on those two images is about 1% better. If that. 1% graphical fidelity better. If not less than 1%. And keep in mind, when did Village come out? When did Village come out? Let's look. Village came out in 2021. And we're in an ad break, so I'll wait till we're back. Oh, Helen, you've subscribed, so never mind. We will keep going. So, Village was 2021. That was 4 years ago. Resident Evil Requiem is coming out next year, which is 2026. 5 years difference. Now, can you honestly tell me tell me that Requiem isn't less than 1% better graphic fidelity wise? Now, that would freak me out in real life if I came across someone that looked like that. I will admit. But that I would think that was a photo in real life. I really would. But again, do I think there's a big graphical improvement from going from Village to Requiem? No. Do I think Requiem will still be good? Yes. But do I think it's a big improvement graphically? No. And I'm not trying to be rude or insulting. But am I wrong that this is not that much worse than Requiem's screenshots? Am I wrong? Am I wrong there, Corito? Is it that much worse than what? I mean, there's a small difference. Sure, Requiem looks a little bit better, but I would say it's less than 1% better. It's so minute and so minor. I mean, look at the light rays coming in through there. We saw some light rays in the Requiem screenshots. And like I said, I'm not having a go at Capcom. I mean, and the only reason why I'm drawing the comparisons between Village and Requiem is Requiem is the only other game that's on my wish list that's using current gen stuff, current gen hardware, pretty much. But again, do I think we've hit the pinnacle of how good human beings can look and how good graphics can look in a game? Honestly, I'm not going to say we're almost at the pinnacle. I think we are at the pinnacle. We have reached the absolute pinnacle, apex, top of how good graphics can look. Now, something might come out in 12 months' time that will absolutely blow me away. Maybe something will blow me away in 12 months' time. But honestly, I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening, and that's no disrespect to Capcom, Gearbox, whoever the devs are now for Battlefield and Call of Duty, etc. Because I don't keep track of who the developers are for things like Call of Duty and Battlefield. Thank you for the follow, Envelop, and welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Oh. Oh, another bot. Sorry. But not sorry. But again, do I think any games in the next 6 months, 12 months, if not next 12 months to 18 months, are going to absolutely blow me away? Yes, there will be games that will blow me away in the next 12 months. But guess what? They're not going to blow me away graphically. They're not going to blow me away graphically. If they're going to blow me away, it's going to be gameplay-wise, story-wise, or something else. That's the only thing that's going to blow me away in the next, inside the next 2 years. Only games that are going to blow me away are games with good gameplay, good game mechanics, or a good story. There is going to be nothing is going to blow me away graphically. And when I compare Village screenshots to Requiem, there literally is zero difference. There literally is zero difference. Like I said, I'm not trying to be rude or insulting to game devs and to the art department for those games. And let me make this clear. I think they do an absolutely goddamn fantastic job. They really do a goddamn fantastic job. But I think most of the art direction and the people who create the graphics, I think most development houses, I think most of them know they've hit the pinnacle. I think most of them, if you actually ask them to be completely honest with themselves, I think I'd be very surprised if a lot of art of the art department of the games didn't openly admit we've hit the pinnacle of how good shit can look. But again, that's just my opinion. Well, I said that's just my opinion, but I would think the art areas and the human models and the model creators, or whether it be Resident Evil, whether it be GTA, whether it be Battlefield, whether it be Call of Duty, I reckon if you ask them, have you hit the pinnacle of how realistic a human being character can look? Facially, expression-wise, when they screw up their face, etc. I honestly think, and keep in mind, I don't work in those industries. I'm just a gamer. And I'm just possibly a hack gamer. But do I think if I got to ask any of those game devs in the art department whether they'd hit the pinnacle, how good a facial expression can look, how good the skin texture, how realistic the person can look, character can look, do they think they've hit the pinnacle? I honestly believe most of them would admit they have. I think most of them would admit they have, if not the majority, if not what that most is. Is it going to be 95, 99? Possibly not. But is it going to be higher than 50%? Absolutely. Absolutely. But can I be sure? No. Can I prove it? No. Do I know for certain? No. No, I don't know any of these things for certain. I'm just an average gamer. Now, keep in mind, we all know I talk down my gameplay. I always talk down my gameplay because I don't, I don't, I make sure I'm not arrogant about my gameplay. But do I think, honestly, do I think we've hit the pinnacle graphic wise? Graphic wise, not just graphic wise, but I guess the more correct term would be, have we hit the pinnacle when it comes to realistic graphics? And that's the key word. If the graphics aren't using cell shade, which is what Borderlands focuses on, have we hit the pinnacle when it comes to realistic graphics? The answer is yes. In my honest belief, the answer is yes. We have hit the pinnacle when it comes to realistic graphics. Now, I know some people might challenge me and say, you're 1,000% wrong. Again, when did I start gaming? Pre the Atari 2600. Yeah. I was dealing with very, very simple graphics. All the graphics were blocks and squares. So I've seen graphics evolve. I've seen gaming evolve. But have we hit the pinnacle on how realistic games can look? Environment-wise, maybe weather. Weather might be something that might be able to look better. Might. But environment? No, I'll take that back on weather. Because you get Witcher 3 or 4 or whatever, and you've got the GPU and the CPU to pump the graphics up to maximum. The amount that you will see the grass wave, the storms, and the lightning hit. No. Realist. Pinnacle. Sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. We have hit the pinnacle.
Go ahead.
And if we haven't, we're less than 1% off the pinnacle. Now, am I bullshitting out my ass? Maybe. Maybe. But do I think I'm wrong? No, but it is also just my opinion.
Wanna die?
But again, it is just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Because guess what? And someone has an opinion, are not necessarily right. And I'm quite happy to have a debate with people and have people tell me I'm wrong. But do I think I'm wrong in this case? When it comes to realistic and how good graphics can look? No. I honestly don't. But but even with what you said about GTA 5 versus GTA 6. Now I don't really play GTA anymore. I played a lot of the early GTAs, but I do see what you said about GTA 5 versus 6. But
Did you let go without asking?
But if you did a sequel to a game and the game was 20 years, the previous game was 20 years old, and you did a sequel to a game that was 20 years old, would that new game look absolutely beautiful? Well, it depends on whether they keep the same graphic style. Too though. But again, am I right? I don't know. Am I wrong? Also, I don't know. Nothing but an opinion. So, when it comes to computer hardware, where are future graphics cards and future CPUs going to take us? Honestly, they're just going to have the PC perform better, have it maybe use less power, run more efficiently, allow you to run multiple more things at once in the background, and graphic wise allow us to run at higher frames per second. But guess what? Let's be honest about frames per second in the game. The human eye can only see so many frames at once. The human eye can only see so many frames per second. Anything that was, let's say, 200, 300 frames per second, we probably wouldn't see most of those frames. We wouldn't. I don't think we literally would see the majority of those frames. Do I know how many frames per second an eye can see? Absolutely not. But is there any science on that? How many frames per second can we see? Can the human eye see? The human eye doesn't have a fixed frames per second, but perceives motion smoothly around 30 to 60 frames per second. Those specialized individuals, like fighter pilots, can discern flashes up to 200 to 500 frames per second under ideal conditions, with perception varying greatly by contrast, brightness, and focus, making 60 frames per second the common benchmark for smooth video, while super high rates 120 plus FPS offer noticeably smoother gaming viewing for many. So that's why a lot of games have the option of running at 140 odd frames per second, because it looks smoother. But is the human eye seeing 144 frames? Probably not. We're probably seeing between 30 and 60. So in the future, having a GPU and CPU combined and having them generate 200 plus frames per second in the game, we're not going to see most of that shit. All that's going to do is make it look smooth as butter. That's all it's going to do. So are GPUs, just GPUs, not CPUs, are GPUs going to get much better than they are now? Probably not. Probably not. The only thing where they could get better, ultimately, is how smooth the game is going to look. Take that how you will. I'll be right back. So I just had to flick a light on. But again, what I'm talking about, graphics wise, CPU wise, GPU wise, let's be honest, it's all conjecture. It's all an opinion. But
Self-care is the best gear.
Boom!
do I honestly think we've hit the pinnacle of how good shit can look? Yep. Yep, I do. And that might upset people, but... And I don't mean to piss off game developers at all. I'm not saying what I'm saying to piss game developers off or game companies off. But what you still there, Credo? What you were querying originally about Witcher 4, etc., decent graphics? There is a site I've just remembered I should have mentioned to you. That might be well worth, might be what you probably want to check on what GPU and CPU you probably want to be aiming for. Google search, can you run it? And click on the first link. It will take you to system requirements lab.com/CYRI. Now this is going to go on my system.
Unless you want the
Granted.
yes.
Is there a Witcher 4? There's no Witcher 4 yet. So we go on Witcher 3, for example. You do need to run some third-party stuff. But, for example, a Witcher 3 for recommended. Now, this is that you're going to see the same stuff mentioned on the Steam store page anyway. But for example, if I click on that and just let it gather my data, detect the application, yada yada. Run the application quickly. And we'll do a check on Resident Evil Requiem, which will already have be listed on this site. And I've never known this to be harmful to your system. Now, right there, it's telling me my graphics driver is 1 month out of date. No, it's not. I set my graphics driver right back. So do I tick off everything on minimum? Yes. Do I tick off everything in maximum? In theory, it's got a question mark over the CPU, but other than that, it's fine. And if we go with Resident Evil Requiem, which is listed on the site, and where does Requiem sit for me? Keep in mind, we're still running an RTX 3070. So to run Requiem for minimum, and keep in mind, this site is nothing more than a guide. Recommends a GTX 1660 or Radeon RX 5500, both very old GPUs, or an Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5. Also, very old CPUs. Are we going recommended? Supposedly, it's going to be fine running on an RTX 2000 series card. And what are we up to? 5000 series. And it recommends at least an i7 CPU or a Radeon Ryzen 5. AMD Ryzen are up to the 9 series, I think. So, can I run Requiem according to this? Yes. Absolutely. So, is this site 1000% foolproof and accurate? No. But what I would say, and I should have brought this site up before for you, Burrito. What I would say is if you're going to build and have someone build you a system, and keep in mind, Requiem wants 8 gig of video RAM. At least 8 gig. Bare minimum 8 gig. It really wants you to, but it probably really wants you to have more than 8 gig. It wants at least 8. But what I would look at is, let's say it was Requiem you were going off, what they recommend, what their minimum and what the recommended is, and look at what you need to be aiming for. And keep in mind, for the recommended, now recommended for Requiem is probably still going to have the graphics running on low, maybe medium. Anyway, still going to be pretty low. Not going to be low. That's probably going to be medium. That's not going to be high. Anything that's high is probably going to be more recent CPUs and GPUs than what they list. Like 4000 RTX series or Intel or newer Intel newer than the Intel i7 or newer than the Ryzen 5. It'd be more likely the Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 9 for really good looking graphics. But again, it goes back to how good do you want your games to look? How good do you want your games to look? And the other thing to keep in mind, and I know you have streamed in the past and you haven't streamed for a bit, Creato. The other thing to keep in mind is if you went back to streaming, you put together yourself a PC rig, and you went back to streaming, keep in mind, and this is only from my gut feeling, and keep in mind, when me streaming, and I would recommend an NVIDIA card over, going back to streaming, I would recommend an NVIDIA card over an AMD graphics card, just because NVIDIA's on their card got a separate little chip that does all the streaming encoding separate. NVIDIA's got a separate encoder built into their card. AMD doesn't have that. But what I was starting to say is I've noticed I lose, and it doesn't matter what game it is, but generally the more modern games, I lose while I'm streaming the game. I lose about, give or take, about 20 frames per second. I lose 20 frames per second. It still looks good on your ends. It still looks good on my end, but I know I lose about 20 frames per second because even with NVIDIA having a separate streaming encoder section on their GPU, alongside their GPU chip, you're still taking a hit. Which is why some people who do stream and stream on a PC, they've got a second PC to do all their streaming, and they port their game from their main PC to their secondary PC to do the streaming for them. So they don't take, and that way, guess what? They don't take an FPS hit. So but I would go to Can You Run It and punch some games into that, see what's required. And let's just look up Grand Theft Auto 6 while we're at it.
Morning already.
What's Grand Theft Auto 6 potentially need?
I can't come soon enough.
I don't have enough information yet. So, Grand Theft Auto 6 fails on the site, which is probably fair. Probably fair. But you could probably throw, I mean, not that we're playing it, but on the popular streaming games at the moment, Arc Raiders. I tick that off quite comfortably. Really comfortably? Maybe, maybe not. But for recommended, going back a gen, if not 2 gens ago on the CPU, they're going back about 3 gens on the GPU. So, but on recommended, you're not going to have graphics running at high. Medium at best, probably. A medium in a lot of games is going to look good. In my opinion, at least. We have run out of music and we need to go back to slaughtering. But I don't know how much all that helps you, Credo, or that just confuses the crap out of you even more. But Can You Run It's probably not a bad site to use. However, like I said, I would use it. I would take Can You Run It with a grain of salt. A very small grain of salt, but a grain of salt nonetheless. Because where they're getting their shit from, Steam pages, other pages, the developers publishers recommended minimum and recommended specs, and then they're just plugging that in, comparing your current GPU, current CPU, and seeing, and then giving their opinion on multiple algorithms, multiple calculations. Yes, you can run it, or no, you can't run it. That's really what it comes down to. I probably do confuse the crap out of you and everyone else who's in here, but so be it. So be it.
It's over.
Lucky for you, I like watching.
A gift of gloom.
I don't mean to confuse you or anyone else, but just trying to be helpful, knowledgeable, and if that helps people's understanding of what to grab hardware-wise, great. If it doesn't, well, at least I tried. At least I tried. All right.
Yeah!
Suffer. Sublime.
I can only go on my actual experience. Well, I think a kill spring will have that. She knows.
Out in the fields, dark was the night. Quietly shepherds were raised still. When all at once, the flashing of lights, the chorus
don't want. Hang on, what did we pick up? Bori. Did we want the Bori? Probably not. No.
I can barely grapple with your
Probably not.
Emmanuel, God is with us. Emmanuel, God is with us. Tidings of joy.
Notification.
Lend me an ear, all you who look for a Savior. In Bethlehem, first Christmas morning, Christ is away in a manger. There he lies by his mother. All you searching may follow the star. Come on, nation, together.
Blow up, please!
Bring your gifts to Jesus our Lord. Emmanuel, God is with us.
Mega.
Emmanuel, God is with us.
That might have been actually been decent. 3% life steal.
Emmanuel, God is with
Ha!
I might have to take a 3-minute break in a minute. Just take a bio.
Ready for more pain now?
Suffering! This'll hurt. Just die!
One of those. Yep. That's one of those spots. Felt like I'm on a band spree on Kick. Shouldn't be, but all right. I think we pretty much. Oh, hang on, I didn't want to trash that then.
I used to look upon myself as rational and strong, and
All right. So out of this shit, and we'll be right back.
I'm bewitched, bewildered, and utterly alone.
That's a real question.
It always will be you until the end of my days. And in my dreams I see how I finally
I don't think it's in this room. I could be wrong.
to show you how I long for your touch, knowing I'd be asking for much to get to have you in my arms.
There you go.
In my
Help.
life, if only for one month.
They're not meant to kill me. The hell? That's bullshit. Alright, on that note, I'm going to be right back. I need to take a bio because that should not have happened.
Smiling at me, and you won't say all those little words I am longing to hear, those whispers at night, 'cause I fear some things are just never meant to be. Your love is not for me. You'll never know I'd die for your touch. I know too well I'm asking too much to get to have you in my arms, in my life, if only for one night. There's no need telling you I am but a fool. 'Cause your beautiful face will not ever be smiling for me, and you won't say
I'm too far back.
all those little words I am longing to hear, those whispers at night, but escape. Some things are just never meant to be. My faintest dreams of you and sheer fantasy, knowing it is plain to see.
I understand. You like
And we're out.
no skin off my back.
Can't say 1% was worth it, but 2%'s probably not worth it either, but them's the breaks. Them is the breaks. But that's alright. It's alright, it's alright. Yeah, let's see whether we can clear incubator.
I found something.
Nope. Nope. There we go. Which located this time? More credit. Sub before just then. And yeah, sorry, I'm just really speechless. I'm trying not to break down and to cry because at the moment, oh, excuse me. Verena is a dumb blonde bimbo. That's a real question. I don't think it's in this room. I could be wrong. Oh. That's a slight problem. We've got no arrows. I don't suppose you guys have got arrows anywhere? What is that? No, I love still. But no, just no. No. Not a fail on that, but never mind. Never mind. Alrighty, we are back. We're going to take a few minutes. Then I'll just come back from a bio. We're going to take a few minutes out and munch on an ice cream. Sorry, but feel like an ice cream. But in kind of hope Hopefully, I haven't wobbled too much about hardware and everything else.
I'm not wasting any dreams this Christmas.
What?
I've made my wish upon that star. The only dream of which my list consists is to always be wherever you are. This year there will be no praying for the snow to fall. It would not make a difference to me at all. No, I'm not wasting any dreams this Christmas. I've made my wish and it came true.
No idea.
No, there is no denying I'm as lucky as can be.
No idea.
This year the wishing star has shone its light on me. I'm as happy as a child on Christmas. I've made my wish and it came true. All I want for Christmas is you.
An alert. Don't know where from though. I'm in Discord. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's over. Well, we will get back to some more going on back some more in a minute. Didn't work too well. The cone out, please. Thank you. All right. Not sure we should stay up too much longer. You know, it's only 9:15. We have walked into the city twice and walked out once. And why we only walked out once, we called a bus back. And because we were carrying quite a lot of, so we weren't going to bags to carry all our shit back. So we're head tired. 2 trips, city and back. Shouldn't need to go back into the city tomorrow. However, we do need to be up super early tomorrow. And do some last minute tidying up before my big sister arrives about 10. And then we'll be tying the place up ready for Christmas Eve. We'll be back on sometime late tomorrow. Could be early afternoon, could be late afternoon, could be evening. I don't know yet. And then we won't be about till Christmas Eve evening. Maybe a little bit later than that. But we will be on Christmas Eve night sometime. And then we'll be on Christmas Day. But we won't be about... Probably won't be about too much tomorrow. And we'll be not really about Christmas Eve till Christmas Eve night. That is the plans for the next couple of days.
Go ahead. Beg for my attention.
We are not celebrating Christmas on Christmas Day this year. We're celebrating that on Christmas Eve instead.
KK's
It's not the bod we want. It's not the kill spring we want. So shield, so we don't care. And don't care about the pistol either. But yeah, we probably should head out soonish, even though we haven't been streaming that long tonight. And unfortunately, we're going to have some rubbish in the house which we're not going to be able to get rid of till Christmas Eve. Even though the garbage truck will arrive Christmas Eve morning, Evil did not, and I'm partly responsible, Evil did not put bins out last week. So our normal garbage bins are overflowing. I've got some rubbish that needs to go out, but there's no room in the bins, so gotta wait for the garbage man to arrive Christmas Eve. Throw the rubbish bags out of the before people arrive Christmas Eve lunch. Not a good look. Not a good look. But not much can do about it. Not much I can do about it. As my big sister's like, listen, I'll just take the rubbish with me. So you don't have to worry. But it is what it is. This week's been a bit of shit, to say the least. Especially with the harassment. Last 3 days, not counting today. Thankfully, today has been good, stream-wise. Thankfully. So I might be speaking too soon all of a sudden. Who knows? Hopefully. That SMG. No.
I'll take you where you can only.
All right. OIX small.
Behold!
All right. Done. 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 No, no. Nope. Nope. All right. Hmm. Oh, no, no.
Fall down. Save some for later.
Of course, we will have our very, very special Christmas Eve reading that we are doing. We will do. I don't think we did it last year. Missed last year, but we, in theory, some people would say you're reading out copyright material. Yes, potentially I am, but also I actually have. I've actually cleared it with a few relevant people, and I'm allowed to read it. So I'm very privileged and very honoured that I'm allowed to do that.
I can barely grapple with your
Oh, I don't make a big deal of it. However, a big deal that I do the reading that I'll be doing Christmas Eve night, but we will be doing that some stage very close to Christmas, very close to midnight. Maybe a little, maybe mid evening, but probably late evening. More apt, late evening. In my opinion, at least. Alright, we don't want that, we don't want that, and we don't want any of that. Oh crap, I forgot to loot the chest. We'll go back. There'll probably be absolute garbage in the chest, but never know. There could be a Lego, but nope, there's garbage. All right.
I can't have you growing too weak.
Get roasted! Beg for mercy! Adequate.
Pass. 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 All right.
It's not goodbye, it's forever. Bang!
Now. Nope. Definitely not. Threatening bod, no. Double check that SMG then. I should have. And it's a no. Alrighty, alrighty. I think that might be me done, actually. Yeah, I think that's me done. No, it has not been. Ow! I know it's not. Ow! Stop that. I know it's not been a long stream, but yeah, we're done. We're too tired to keep going. And we have potentially got a long day ahead of us. Potentially got a long, long day ahead of us. But that's okay. That's okay. Because we're probably going to be up at about 9:30 now. We're probably going to be back. Probably be up at about 6. So I'm not doing the tidying up and cleaning up tonight. I'm too tired. So, we are going to call it there. It is only going to be, what? Yeah, the 23rd tomorrow. So, we will be about sometime tomorrow I'll be after my sister leaves, goes home, is the earliest we will be on. So, do I know what time that will be? No, but probably sometime before. You'll lose sometime before 6 p.m. Could be earlier. Who knows? Good night, Credo. I hope I have given you some good information, especially with the Can You Run It website, to give you a very, very rough guideline of what graphics cards and CPUs to aim towards. But again, Can You Run It is a guide. I would never take it 100% seriously, but it's a good rough guide to go by. So if you want to, but I'd always, for what they say for recommended, I'd always go a bit higher GPU and CPU than they suggest, ultimately. But that's just my opinion. We will be back on sometime tomorrow. It could be earlier, could be as early as late afternoon tomorrow. I don't know. But given I've got all my family members showing up Christmas Eve, which is 5 of them, place needs to be tidy. So place needs to be tidy, so that is why we won't be about till very late afternoon, early evening, most likely tomorrow, and then like I said, we won't be on till Christmas Eve night sometime. It depends on what time family clears off on Christmas Eve. So it's just a matter of, I don't know. We will be doing, like I said, a special reading Christmas Eve from a book. Other than that, we will stream into the early hours Christmas Day, crash out, and then be back up streaming Christmas Day and streaming Boxing Day while distracted by the cricket on Boxing Day. Other than that, as long as we don't get harassed by a-holes on Kick, it should be decent streams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, I kind of do prefer System Requirements Lab Can You Run It, because it just, whatever the algorithm they are using, they do match everything about, for example, your current system up against what's recommended. However, if you aren't running it on a current system, I mean, it's just going to output what's the minimum recommended without measuring it against your current system. So, but it will give you an idea, even if you can't do a detection, ultimately. So, as I said, it's a rough guideline, or whatever the site you found. Again, Can You Run It, or the site you found, you take them with a grain of salt. take them with a grain of salt. They are reliable, but they're not perfect. Not by any means. They do have their... There is leeway. Not a lot of leeway, but they are reasonably accurate, but they're not perfect. They're not ultimately, what I'm saying is, they're not 100% accurate. They're mostly accurate, over 50% accurate. How much above 50%? I don't know. So, I mean, all I can recommend is, I mean, I've given you all the information I can give you. And pointed out system requirements, labs. All you can do is pretty much just talk to people. However, the only thing I would say is if you talk to other gamers, there are going to be some people who are going to be incredibly biased towards certain manufacturers or certain CPUs. There are going to be some, dare I say it, there are the NVIDIA boys and girls and the AMD boys and girls and for the graphics card, and there's the NVIDIA there's the Intel boys and girls and the AMD CPU boys and girls. When you got, then there is that bias. There is that bias. So I try and be honest. I know I kind of do look at the difference between Intel and AMD, and NVIDIA and AMD, and I know what's generally ahead. Now, yes, obviously I would prefer an Intel CPU. I would prefer an NVIDIA card, but I've been using AMD CPUs for a while because Intel's just been behind the game, been behind the 8 ball for a while. They are catching up, much like AMD's catching up with their GPU finally. It's taken both those companies a while to catch up, but they're going to have to work out who's being biased and not willing to look at the alternative. So I'll tell you now, when it comes to GPUs, there are going to be some people who are going to be the NVIDIA boys and girls, and are not going to, saying an AMD Radeon card would be a dirty word. It would be sacrilege for them to even consider that. So you got to be wary of the bias. Do I have some bias? A little, but I'm prepared to look at the alternatives. I'm always prepared to look at the alternatives, but I would keep, while you trying to work out exactly what you want to aim for, keep talking to people, keep getting opinions, go through YouTube videos, go through forums, go through Reddit threads, etc. Though Reddit threads that could be the most toxic fanboy, fangirl debates ever. So maybe not Reddit, but pick and choose. Pick and choose. That's all I can recommend. It's like anything in life. You got to work out who's giving you genuine advice and who's not. Do I think I give out genuine advice on PC builds? For the most part, I do believe I do. I don't believe I know I'm biased in some areas. I don't think I'm too biased. I'm certainly not as biased as some people out there. let's say. So, take it how you will, I guess. But anyway, we do need to call it, and we do need to get some sleep since we are planning on being up about 6 or 7 in the morning. Not looking forward to that, but never mind. And it will take us probably about an hour to get to sleep anyway. So, again, but we will be back after the cleaning tasks are done. There may be some cleaning for me to do after my sister leaves tomorrow, but that's will just have to be done basically. Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, I mean, all you can do is just keep getting, you can be overwhelmed by too much advice, but you're also going to sift out people's bullshit from the genuine advice too. A lot of people are going to give you bullshit advice, but that's like everything in life. Like movie reviews or game reviews. Oh, that game is absolute shit. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. It's absolute shit. No, it isn't. It's a 9 out of 10 game. No, dude. Everyone says it's 1 out of 10. You're bullshit. It's not. Yes, it is, IGN. You're bullshit. Oh, sorry, did I mention IGN giving a game a 9 out of 10? My bads. Sorry. And on that bit of sarcasm, we will take ourselves to bed and try and not bag the shit out of IGN. Though, let's be honest, IGN on their game reviews kind of deserve it. And on that note, we are going to bed. IGN, 10 out of 10. GG. Oh, forgot. So as usual, as always, take care, stay safe, and be well. Bye for now.